other people behind. Okay, cool guys. So we are live both on YouTube, we are live on TikTok. Welcome to this conversation. I hope that this conversation is going to bless you. Our conversation today is talking about marriage and what it really means. What is marriage? If somebody would have asked you, Pauline, welcome, I see you. If today somebody asks you to define what is marriage, what are you going to say? All right, you are planning your wedding, right? You who's watching on YouTube, you are planning for a wedding next week, next one, next year, with that guy, with that lady. But have you ever asked yourself a question like, what is marriage? You know, wedding is easy. You just plan, you call some friends, you get into a WhatsApp group, you do a contribution, and you wed. Do you know, guys, most of us only know about the wedding. We don't know about marriage. We don't know what is marriage. We only know the wedding. All we know is a woman coming, meeting a man, and them starting to stay together. That's wedding. That's not marriage. That's the union of the two. That's the union of the institution that we now call a marriage. It is the beginning. You see, when you are signing a contract, like when you get an employment, right? For example, you don't call your offer letter a job, and you don't call your contract a job. You sign a contract, all right, in front of an HR or in front of any manager if they don't have an HR. You sign a work contract. Then you get into a contract with that employer and then you start working. We don't call that contract and that period or season a job. You just signed the contract. Like you've opened the door towards a certain room. You don't call the door the room. But you see, most of us in our heads, we always assume that wedding is the marriage. Now, today I want to define what marriage is. And I want to help women, especially women, because you know, most of women are always excited with a wedding. A man comes into your life, you know, he plays good things, he gives you an offer letter. You guys realize, you understand when you get an offer letter, you know, you've been looking for a job, you know, pushing your CVs here and there, you know, dropping your CVs, even talking to your uncles, aunties, some of your friends. I'm looking for a job. And then you get an offer letter. You'll be excited. So men give women an offer letter. An offer letter that is not giving you a work contract, it's giving you something called marriage contract. But unfortunately, most of our women today do not realize that that is just an offer letter. It is not the work that you're going to do. I want to use employment to define for you to understand what marriage institution means, so that if you are planning for it next month, if you're planning for it in next year, you've got to take a break and ask yourself, am I really going to do the right thing? You know, when you have an offer letter, if you've been looking for a job for a long time, you get excited. You've got to tell everybody, you know, I got an offer letter and, you know, I'll be going to sign a contract next week, next month. You know, you go to your old company if you had one, you resign from there, you know, you don't care, you go to them. Sometimes you can even knock their table. You are now a big boss. You've gotten a good offer from another company. But now, how do I relate this to marriage institution? Most of our women today get excited, and very much excited, when a man approaches you and gives you an offer letter. And that offer letter is, I will marry you. So you start getting excited. Then the society now pushes you that you need to wed before you marry. Remember, the wedding is the signing of the contract. Just like a job, you have a contract that you're signing. Remember, when you are signing your wedding contract, it binds you not only with your husband. It's different from a job contract. When you're signing your job contract, it's binding you between yourself and your company. But you see, a marriage contract, that wedding that you're doing, all right, whether it is in the church, and when I mean wedding, I'm not talking about those people who go to church. When I talk about wedding, I'm talking about the day you get married. Even if you're just doing a come we stay, there is always a wedding in between. It's only like, society has placed it in a way that a wedding has to celebrate it. There has to be a celebration for people to accept that there is what? A wedding. But there's a come we stay. There's a process. You don't just marry someone. You wed them. You swear. You take your clothes. You pack everything and you move in with them. There's a wedding in between here. So when this man has given you an offer letter by telling you, I will marry you, what this man is telling you is, I want to give you a job. In that job, the title or your job title will be a wife. In this job, what we are producing or our factories manufacturing is what is called marriage. So you still don't know what you're going to manufacture in this institution. Just the same way you are signing a contract at a workplace. And the HR is telling you that you are going to be a receptionist. You are going to be a cleaner. You are going to be the CEO. You are going to be the manager. You are going to be the security guard. In your head, there's something, you know a little bit of what it entails to be a security guard. In your mind, you know what it takes to be a receptionist. You've got the skills. In your head, you know what it takes to be a CEO, to be a manager, to be a director. You've got it in your head. But one thing that people don't always question or don't always realize is that every company has its own advantages and disadvantages. You can be told that you're going to be a receptionist only to end up being a cleaner in the same place. Your job contract that you signed, I want people to go with me slowly by slowly so that you understand what marriage is. Your job contract is written clearly, a receptionist with the roles, greeting the clients, taking calls, receiving mails, making sure that the reception area is clean, all right? Instructing and directing guests and clients. They are very clean and they're very sweet, and you can see, oh, wow, this is something that I've been doing. I have the skills to do this. But then, once you take your contract and you place it home, and your manager or employer also keeps your contract in the file, and you report to work, you start getting extra things that you didn't plan for. You are the cleaner because there's no cleaner. So you are in the receptionist. You have also to clean that area. You have to go and clean the toilets as well. You have to go to clean the manager's office. You have to go to clean the compound. In your job contract, the only thing that was there was what? Taking calls, meeting guests, greeting them, directing them, right? Assorting mails, directing calls from relevant offices, all right? But now, when you report to work, you realize that, hey, so I need also to clean the toilet. I need also to, in fact, make tea, prepare tea for the HR or for the manager, and etc., etc. The day you are wedding your man, the day you are packing your things and running away from your home because you are going to meet that man of your life, the man who has been so good to you, the man who offered you an offer letter and gave you responsibilities that is there. I want you to come and be my wife. And you see, responsibilities that you've been having when you visit this man has just been most sweetest thing. Cooking for him, cleaning his house, sometimes cleaning his clothes in the laundry machine, and having sex, just enjoying bedtime. These have been the responsibilities. So this is the offer letter that you've been given. You are reading your responsibilities. My responsibilities are, I clean his clothes, I clean the house, I cook for him, we have sex, we sleep. In the morning I wake up, he gives me pocket money, he calls a cab for me, and then I go back home. This is the offer letter. That's what the offer letter is reading. All right? So you've been given the offer letter. You've read, you've seen your responsibility. So now you're making a decision to sign the contract. How do you sign the contract? You signed it through what we call a wedding, either in the church, in court, or from your parents. You go in front of your parents, the man comes and the man talks to your parents, and you tell your parents that, yes, I love him and I want to get married to him. So if you love him and you want to get married to him, you're signing a contract. Your contract has been signed with what you think as a woman, you know very well what your responsibilities are. But when you report to work, now what is marriage? Things have changed. It's no longer not just cleaning the house, cooking the food, having sex, getting pocket money to go back home, him calling a cab, and now there's so many things now attached. His family becomes part of you. Your family becomes part of decisions that you make in this home. His job becomes part of you. Her stress becomes part of you. His diseases become part of you. His past and his troubles, his enemies become part of your enemies. His friends become part of your friends. This is where you can even realize that one of your biggest enemy is his friend and his business partner. Now, what do you do? When it is a job, for example, if you are signing a job contract, you can go and resign and look for another job. But now, I'm not going to talk about the bad side of marriage, but I will tell you what marriage is. I was, exciting your mind to think about what is going to happen in marriages, as in at a workplace. You're signing a contract just to receive mails, to receive calls, to direct guests, just to assort mails and give them to the owners. But when you report to work after signing that contract, you realize that you need to clean, you need to make tea for your husband, for the manager, and etc. etc. So you are at a place where you're at a crossroad. You don't know what to do. But now let's see. What is marriage? Number one thing that you need to know before you sign that contract, before you wed, before you accept that dowry, before you pay that dowry, my brother, before you go to her parents to introduce yourself, to take her, before you accept him coming to your home, you have to realize this. Marriage is a commitment. Marriage is not a trial. Marriage is not a test of relationship. Marriage is not, let me come and try and see if it can work. Marriage is a commitment. Our societies today, we have no shame. We don't care. We can do whatever we want. We can marry John today, tomorrow leave John and marry Peter, tomorrow leave Peter and marry Samson, and we are just okay. What we don't always realize is we pretend that we are serving God. We pretend that we are going to church. But are we sinning before God? We are sinning before God. Why? Because the reason why we are leaving marriages doesn't make sense. Very few people who left their marriages left because of sensible reasons, left because of reasons that God can forgive, reasons that you can present before God and God can look at you and say that, yeah, my daughter, my son, leave because this marriage is going to tear you apart. What is marriage? Marriage is a commitment. Marriage is a commitment where You don't do things because you want to do them. You do what you promised, regardless of how you feel. When you accept, and I want people to get this, I'm not forcing anyone to do whatever they promised to do, regardless of what they feel. But what I'm saying is this: before you sign the contract in any company, before you accept their job offer, you have to do some research to ask yourself, like, how is this company? Do they pay salary on time? Do they respect their staff? How do they handle people? What is their culture? So that when you sign that contract, you're going to work for them until the end of the contract without complaining. How many of you go to work and you don't feel like going there? Yani, when the morning comes, you start to cry, you start to argue with yourself. You start, oh, it's again morning, again, I'm going to work. But you still have to wake up, clean yourself, comb your hair, have a cup of tea if there is, then go to the same place you don't want to go. That is what marriage is. Marriage is an institution of commitment. You have to do what you promised, regardless of how you feel. Unfortunately, today, most of us are in marriage because we are feeling good. We are staying in places of marriages because of our feelings. When we feel that we are not just happy here, we want to leave. When we feel that, this man is not giving me what I want, we want to leave. When we feel like this woman is not giving me the vibe that I want, the vibe, not the things and the needs, my needs, coach, we can't vibe. He was so lovely before we got married. The guy was a vibe. But now I'm just not vibing him. I don't just feel, he's just not like, my sister, can you just explain to me what is making you to hate your man? Coach, I don't have a specific thing, but you see, this guy is just not a vibe. He's not like, I can't say, but I don't feel the same way I used to feel before. Sweetheart, you are not ready for that marriage, because marriage is not what is going to give you vibes and what you feel. Marriage is a commitment. So before you get a step into that dais to tell somebody that I do, look at them in the eyes and tell them that I, so and so, I promise that I will love you in sickness and in health until death put us aside. We always say it, that I will love you in sickness and in health. But we only want to love them in health. When sickness strikes, we want to run away. Marriage is an institution where you don't stay there because of how you feel. You stay there because of what you promised. Number two, marriage is not about how long this will last. Marriage is about how are we going to make this last longer. When you are getting into marriage, you are not asking yourself, how long will my marriage last? You are asking yourself that how are we going to make our marriage last long? Forever. Marriage is a forever thing, sweethearts. Why am I saying this, ladies and gentlemen? There are people who are used to dating and breaking up. They date, they break up. They date, they break up. So they think that they can also move in with the man and try. If things are not working, they leave. God will punish your small, small ass. You see those your small, small nyas, the small, small nyas, you're shaking from one house to another, staying with this man, and then when things are not okay, you leave, you move to another house. God is gonna slap those small nyash. My brother, that's your small chest, the one that you're thinking that you can place in every woman's chest. Every time you move in, you grab a woman, you bring them to your house, you stay with them 6 months, you drop them, you go look for another one. God is going to punch you in a way that you've never been punched. Sometimes you won't even realize that God has punched you because God's punishment sometimes doesn't come directly. You don't see it, but it comes into your health. Marriage is a forever institution, is a commitment that lasts forever. So I'm not forcing people to last in their marriages because some of your marriages are not godly. There's a time that I was listening to a certain sermon that was so interesting, where somebody asked somebody asked a pastor, that pastor, is divorce acceptable to God? Does God allow or accept divorce? And the pastor said yes. And people were like, no, the Bible does not allow us to divorce. Then the pastor told them that, look, the Bible says, I think it's in Ephesians, if I'm not wrong, it should be in Ephesians, that what God has put together, no man should put asunder. What? Who? God has put together. What God? And I want you to underline God. My question is, are all marriages that you know today been put together by God? What is marriage? Marriage is an institution that has been put together by God. But my question to you is, do you think all the marriages that you know today, are those unions been put together by God? No, not all of them. Some of those unions have been put together by pregnancy. It is because of pregnancy that you married them. Now you get pregnant, you run to church and try. You know, you can never dodge God. You can never lie to God. You get pregnant, you know you are 2 months pregnant. Now you rush, you tell your pastor, please pray for us. We don't want to get married. You're not getting married. You are just, this marriage is being put together because of pregnancy. That's not godly. That marriage is not godly. And that's why today we have a lot of single mothers around. We have a lot of single daddies around because most marriages are not godly. There's the likes of Joyce Jackson who's saying marriage is a scam. It's a scam because you are not marrying. You are not doing what we call marriage. It's not a marriage. What you are getting into is just sexual intercourse. You just want to have, a free sex. That's what is taking you to that man. You just want free money. You just want free sex. A man just thinks that, you know what? My libido is too high. And getting this lady from their house to my house, I have to do it at night. I have to hide. Now you force this lady to come and start staying with you. Come, we stay. And then they want to call that married. You know, coach, I was married to him for 5 years and then he left me. How did you marry him? It's a long story, coach. No, I can listen. Just give me the story. You know, we were dating. Then, in the process of dating, I got pregnant of him. So, because I got pregnant, I had to drop from school and I had to run away from my parents because my parents didn't want me at home. So, but luckily, he accepted to take me in. Is that marriage? Is that marriage? I just want to ask, is that marriage? A marriage, somebody, the noisy Joyce is asking me, explain godly marriage. The Bible says a woman will leave his father's house, and a woman will leave her father's house, and a man will leave his father's house, and the two shall become one. Today, a pregnant woman will leave her father's house, and a dicky man will leave his father's house, and the three shall try to become one. I hope you got me, Joyce. You are dating, you get pregnant, and your pregnancy is pushing you to leave your home and to get married to a man, it's not godly. That marriage is not godly. What was I explaining? I didn't want to talk about a godly and ungodly marriage because I don't want to judge people, but I was just explaining something here. I was explaining that divorce, God allows divorce. The thing is, God hates it. Does not mean that He does not permit it. He permits. Now, the Bible says that what God has put together, no man should put asunder. No man. Meaning, there has to be a third party. The third party is what is cautioned, not the two. The Bible has said the two shall become one. So, the same Bible cautions that once God unites these people and they are one, let there be no one who comes like the third party to separate them. The two who are married can separate themselves, but only no man, no man, no man, no one apart from the two can separate them. But you go to the Bible again, it tells you that when the man is adulterous, the woman is permitted to separate. Not a man is allowed to come and separate the two. When a woman is adulterous, the man is allowed to divorce. That is what God gives us. That's why God has allowed divorce to be in marriages. But what God is cautioning is me as a coach to come into your marriage and tell you that, you know what, divorce this man. But again, God has said that I cannot do that only to what God has put together. But if God did not put you together, I can come and tell you, hey, get out here. Your parents can come. You see those marriages. You see those marriages where your parents are always coming to pull you away from the man. All right? Your parents are struggling with you, are cautioning you, get out of that. You hide from your parents and you go get married. Even if you go through the courts and you do a civil wedding, that is an illegal marriage. That is why if you want to go, for example, to US, you want to go to some of these countries, your husband or your wife wants to take you to these countries, UK or even in Kenya right now. If you are not a Kenyan and you are married to a Kenyan and you want to go to Kenya today, the rules and regulations is you have to provide the history of your marriage and you have to prove that your family, including your mother, your father, and your brothers, approve that marriage. If they don't, you might not be allowed to bring that wife back home. Why? Because that is an illegal marriage. If an authority, for example, a Kenyan authority, all right, or a Ugandan authority allows you to take that woman to Kenya and their parents come and file a case in international courts to say that the government of Kenya accepted and assisted a Kenyan to elope with their daughter, the Kenyan government has to pay. That's why most of you are going to say here that marriage is legal as long as I go to court and I get a civil wedding. When your parents do not accept, do not permit you to marry that man, it is illegal. Even if you go through the courts and you get certificate, your parents have a right to go to court and file a court and say that the man eloped with you without their knowledge. And that marriage is void and null. So we are not talking about the types of marriage. We are talking about what is marriage. A marriage is an institution of forever, not emotions. You don't just stay in it because you have emotions. People these days, and especially women, are all over the place. Marriage is a scam. Marriage is this. Do you know why women say marriage is a scam? Number one reason why most women say marriage is a scam is women don't get married to men. And not all, please. Don't throw your stones, okay? Most women don't get married to the men. They marry what the men have. They marry the expectation they have over that man. They marry what they see this man possesses. Then when they get into their marriage, the houses where these men are, their expectations get nullified. What they were seeing in these men is not the reality. Men have understood that women are not marrying men. Women are marrying what men have. So men portray themselves as those who have it all. We are struggling as men to behave in the public that we have this, we have that. I'm driving a car, I'm making money. You see young boys today go on social media that, I'm doing Forex and making 100,000 Kenya shillings a day. I'm making, that's what women want to see. So women run to this kind of men who make 100,000 a day, because you're not running because you want this man. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm sorry, guys. There's a day that a friend of mine was asking me. There's a guy who married a very beautiful lady. They divorced after, I think, 1.5 years. They got divorced. The guy was, I'm sorry to say this, guys, and I don't like to say it, but the guy was ugly. No one is ugly, but but sometimes, we just have to be. We are human beings. We have to be real. The guy didn't have, like, you look at him and you look at the lady who was getting married to him, you could see there's a problem here. Have you ever seen a marriage where when you even go to, somewhere, marriage institutions, and you are claiming this is your wife, people have question marks like, is this really this guy's wife? And is it really this guy, this man's, this lady's husband, really? So that was the scenario. But this guy had a lot of money. He was making money. The guy was pushing himself. And he was not making money illegally, he was making money legally. What this man did not understand was that the woman was targeting the money. And the woman knew very well that if I get married to him, I'm going to get 50% of his money if I divorce him. So the woman, with her beauty, was all over the place, showing interest and this, showing up, going to his shop, always, pretending to be loving what this guy is doing. And before the guy knew, the woman had slid into his inbox, and they were planning marriage, and it was a colorful wedding that I supposedly did not attend, but we knew the guy. We used to, live closer to us. So after 1.5 years, the woman came out and called, I can call it a conference, because he publicly declared that the man is not good in bed. And that was the reason she was divorcing. You know how society will take it, and how society will support the woman, and how everyone looking at her and with her beauty, she's saying that this man is not doing anything in bed. And then people are looking at her and saying that, with all this beauty, how can you stay with a man who can't use this beauty? So she had advantage to leave the marriage. She filed for a divorce, and luckily, get this, some judges are so great. When the divorce was filed, the judge asked that, when did you get married? This is where I love Kenya. Kenya is not like the Europe or American courts. The judge asked the lady, when did you guys get married? And the lady the lady's lawyer cited the dates of marriage and everything. So the judge decided that we will only talk about the wealth that accumulated during the first year and the half year of your marriage. We will not touch, because I told you guys that sometimes there are some marriages that when you present the wife and husband, there has to be a question mark. So according to judge and the man's lawyer, they questioned the intention of this lady, her intentions for this marriage. Remember, marriage is an institution. You have to prove, when you are in court, you have to prove the reason behind you leaving this man. There is no reason in law that I'm leaving this man because he's not good in bed. That is not a reason in law. But still the law can permit you to leave him. But you don't have, your case has no weight. The cases that have got weight is where the man is, toxic, the man is physically abusive, the man has a mental breakdown, things like that. Those are cases that are heavy. The woman can be given 50%, sometimes even 60 or 70% of the man's wealth. They will look at how this man tortured you, the physical abuse, mental abuse, and etc. If you cannot prove that, the judge has a right to make a decision on how you get the wealth. So the lady got very small amount of what she was intending to get out of the man. And the marriage was cancelled and it's gone. Why was I saying this? I was saying this to explain something, guys. Marriage, when you are getting married to someone, before my brother, before you allow to put a ring on her hand, my sister, before you accept to take that ring, tell this to yourself: I will never leave. I'm here to stay. If you need me, I will be there. If I pull you down, pull me back. If you pull me down, I will pull you back. If you stretch me, I'll try to contract myself. If I stretch you, please contract yourself. That is what marriage is all about. If you cannot look at that man in his eyes and say these words here, I bet, don't marry him. There's a man somewhere that's good for you. This is, I do counselings, I do training, I do coaching, I do premarital coaching for couples who want to get married. And I tell them, sit here and look at each other. I want to ask you a question. Are you sure? Don't answer me. Don't answer him. Answer yourself inside. Are you sure that you will tell this guy that is seated here that I will never leave you? I'm here to stay. And if you need me, I will be there. If you pull me back, if you pull me down, I will pull back. If I pull you down, you will pull back. If you stretch me, I will contract you. And if you stretch me, are you ready to say that? If today you go, there's a lady who one day asked, that coach, you're telling us not to have sex before marriage. What if I go to this man's house and then I find out that he's not performing? You are not marrying somebody because of sex. I know this is a little bit controversial and we can debate about it. But you see, marriage is an institution in its own. It is not about sex. And you are saying, I am marrying you in sickness and in health. That removes expectations that you have. In sickness includes this man could be sick. He could not be standing. The same way, a man can marry a woman and the man is standing and he can perform in bed, but the woman cannot give him a child. It is, I don't know why ladies always think that it's all about them. It's okay for a lady to say that, you know what, I cannot stay with a man who cannot sleep with me. But it's not okay to say that I cannot stay with a woman who can't give me a child. Do we sometimes, can you sometimes become kind? A woman can tell you that, oh, me, I can stay without sex. I can stay. It's okay. There's no problem. I can stay without sex. But again, when they are married, I left my marriage because my man was not good in bed. Not that his man is not having sex with her, but she's leaving because the man is not good. How did you know the goodness of sex if you are staying without sex? There are two things here. Marriage is an institution. It has got no buts. That's why I'm always saying this. I'm not forcing you to stay with that man because he's not good in bed. What I'm saying is, are you telling this man that you want to marry today that I will stay with you no matter how bad you are in sex, in money, blah, blah, blah? Are you telling this woman that even if you cannot give me a child, I will stay? Coach, I want to leave him. Why, my sister? Coach, that guy, oh, he's just like me. It's like we are two women in bed. Now you leave a man who loved you for who you are. You're leaving him because he was bad in bed. You are going to another man, a man who is very good in bed, and is screwing you the way you want, but now you cannot give him a child. You are a barren. You left a man who was not good in bed. Now you found another man who is good in bed, but you can't give that man a child. Now that man that you can't give a child who's good in bed start to abuse you. You're just a barren. You are an empty devil. You're just eating here. There's nothing that you're bringing in this home. Are you getting it? Marriage is an institution. 24 hours TikTok says, coach, kwa hawa wanawake, better ukose pesa but ukue na good game in bed. You know, 24-hour TikTok, the reason why this is happening today, there's a day that I told you here that today, if look how the society changed us. Long time ago, ladies used to get married when they were virgins. They used to get married in their teenagers, all right? They used to get married when they were 16, 17, 18, you know? No grandmother, go to your grandmoms back at home, ask them. You will never find people in their 60s today, those who are 60 and above today, those who are married, even divorced or even widowed today. Go and ask ladies who are 60 and above today, when did they get married? They got married when they were in their teenagers, 18, 17, some of them even 13, some of them 15 years of age. That's when they got married. They didn't know something called good or bad in bed. But today, hey, God forbid, you are marrying a woman who is not just knowing the inches, they know the angles. There's a comedy that I saw. There's someone in Kenya called uh, Crazy Kena, right? There's a comedy that he did uh, that you got a lady in a club, and the lady is, you know, I'm still a virgin. I've never done it before. I'm so scared. I don't know. I'm so scared. Then she's pretending. And in her mind, when she reaches home and she sees the bed, she forgets that she had already told you she's scared of doing it. She's a virgin. Then she's like, break me. You know, she's seated there showing you her thighs and she's saying, I want you to dismember me. Put, you know, take this leg, put it here. Give me this angle. Finish me. But you said you're a virgin. How did you know this angle? How did you know how to put? You see, guys, this is the problem that we are having. I can tell you for free, marriages work. Institution of marriage works. The biggest problem that we are having is people are struggling because women feel they know styles, they know angles, they know this, they know that. You are getting a lady who knows how to put their legs here. And that's why when you marry them, they're like, you know, my man is not good in bed. You're getting men who have held a lot of legs, the heavy legs, the lighter legs. They've seen this size, they've seen this size, they've seen this size, they've seen it tight, they've seen it long, they've seen it thick. One thing that I know, biologically, scientifically, there's no man who's bad in bed and there's no woman who's bad in bed. These things are only possible when a woman has slept with a lot of men. Then a woman can start to compare. There's no one who's bad in bed. Comparison leads us to think this man is bad in bed, this woman is bad in bed. You can only know someone is bad if you have something better. You cannot know that this cup is bad if this is the only cup you have. How will you differentiate the goodness and badness of this cup if this is the only thing you have? How does comparison come? And let me tell you how people compare, even those who are virgins. A virgin woman gets a man and you start a relationship, then she scrolls on TikTok or she's sitting with the groups and she listens to, um, people, people who, what we can say, people who talk about how intercourse is, the sexual intercourse and whatever. You find somebody saying that, have you ever squatted? Then people are like, what is to squat? You know, having water coming out of, this man was giving it to me until I'm splashing my water. So the woman is like, I've never had that. So in her mind, she has got something to compare. Comparison is what makes us feel our men are not good or our women are not good. But if you don't compare, marriage is something that can live forever. Even if that guy is a 1 minute man, I can tell you, women have pleasure and enjoy lovemaking with a 1 minute man. 100%. Do you know that it takes only 15 seconds for a penetrative intercourse for a woman to feel loved and feel okay in sex? 15 seconds. For a penetrative intercourse, a woman needs 15 seconds to feel good. A man needs only 12 seconds to feel good. But now, what kind of people are we marrying? We are marrying gardens. Tunaoa mashamba. Zimelimwa. Zimelimwa. Uh-huh. Wamelima. Yani si mtu, watu wamelima hiyo shamba. The garden has been plowed. That's what you are marrying. Why am I talking about 12 seconds and 15 seconds? If you are in love with somebody and you want to make love, making love is not just about penetration. Making love to somebody, it's about love making. Love making. It's a process of preparing that person, putting them into the mood, seducing them, talking in their ear, making them to be ready. How many women here? This was not a topic for today, guys. This was just a matter. I don't know why I slipped and started talking about this. There are so many women that reach orgasm without being penetrated. Am I wrong? Ladies who are here, those who are having real good relationships, have you ever not orgasmed without being penetrated? Just by his words, by his touches, you get your orgasm. Haven't you ever had it? Men who are here, haven't you ever had orgasm just because of that woman touching you, talking to you, just holding your Mr. D, just talking to you, and you get your orgasm? Haven't you ever had that? So what makes you feel that a 1 minute man cannot satisfy you? It is because of comparison. It's because of the plowers, the gardeners, the people who have been digging your garden. They have dug that garden. So you are thinking that lovemaking is no. Lovemaking also can be somebody 24 hours coach is telling me mileage. The mileage is long. Lovemaking can also be just you penetrate and you stay there. And you each other, you feel yourselves and you're satisfied. Anyway, I was saying this. Marriage is an institution that must live forever. You cannot kill your marriage just because a man is not good in bed. You don't kill your marriage because your wife is not giving birth to a child. Marriage is an institution that lives forever. Allow it to live forever. I'm taking questions, guys.